Brittney, a few weeks ago, you fouled out of an Indiana Fever game. Cameras caught you saying something on the bench. It's hard to tell what you said. Can you tell us what you said?
I remember fouling out, being mad. I remember fouling out on, I believe it was Howard, driving to the basket. They said I put my hand in. But hey, you never really have to look at this game, so.
But what did you say?
I really can't remember what I said, honestly.
If I showed you the video, would that help?
No, it wouldn't help.
It wouldn't help?
3 weeks after a widely shared video purportedly showed her making offensive remarks about Caitlin Clark, Brittney Griner recently pulled off the most convenient memory loss in sports history. The twist is that she suddenly lost the ability to recall what she had said. She recalls every other detail at that same moment. The hypocrisy will soon be revealed in ways that will astound you. Do you think Griner actually forgot what she said? Or is this the most blatant instance of selective amnesia you have ever witnessed? Let's start with the facts, because they are so absurd that they should have been made clear 3 weeks ago during an Atlanta Dream vs. Indiana Fever game. After fouling out, Brittney Griner was apparently captured on tape saying something that caused a great deal of controversy.
For the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier today.
When Griner was finally questioned about the incident this week, her response was the most convenient example of amnesia since politicians began testifying before Congress. The viral clip seemed to show her muttering something that many viewers took to be a racial slur directed at Caitlin Clark.
Brittney, a few weeks ago, you fouled out of an Indiana Fever game. Cameras caught you saying something on the bench. It's hard to tell what you said. Can you tell us what you said?
I remember fouling out, being mad. I remember fouling out on, I believe it was Howard, driving to the basket. They said I put my hand in. But hey, you never really have to look at this game, so.
But what did you say?
I really can't remember what I said, honestly.
If I showed you the video, would that help?
No, it wouldn't help.
It wouldn't help?
She recalls the foul, remembers being upset, recalls who she fouled, and recalls every detail of the play, but her memory abruptly goes blank when it comes to the precise words that may clear her name or validate the most serious accusations. When confronted specifically about the event, Griner stated, "I really can't remember what I said honestly." That's not just suspicious, that's insulting to anyone with functioning brain cells. 3 weeks ago, you can recall every detail of a basketball play, but you can't recall the sentence you said right after. Come on, Brittney, we weren't born yesterday. But now, when reporters offered to play the video for her to help her remember, she shut it down faster than a convenience store during a hurricane. No, that wouldn't help. She said, "Just think about that for a second. If you really couldn't remember what you said and someone offered to show you video evidence of what happened, wouldn't you want to see it? Unless, of course, you know exactly what you said and you're hoping everyone else will just forget about it."
In a viral clip, after she made a foul play, Griner appears to mouth something rather controversial. It might be, though we don't know, trash and possibly fucking white girl. Others have suggested it might be trash and fucking whack call. We don't know what she's mouthing, but she seems to, have a mouth on her and not exactly be in the gratitude space. Griner herself hasn't commented. Now, why is that? If you were being accused of making racist statements, I think you'd want to clear that up quickly. You'd race to the cameras and put out a statement on X to say, I said fucking whack call. I didn't say effing white girl. But she's not. She's apparently totally comfortable letting those allegations linger. Maybe she's worried that the people on the bench or the people right behind her had a recording going. You know how people do? They record the game. They want to show their friends that they were there. Maybe she's concerned that if she comes out and says it's one thing, there might be proof that it was something else. We don't know because she's not speaking to it, which is odd.
Given the larger backdrop of how the WNBA has been handling scandals this season, when bogus accusations of racism were made against Indiana Fever fans about Angel Ree, the timing of this selective amnesia is especially ideal. The league promptly began an investigation, released statements, and took the allegations seriously. In the end, they discovered no proof of misconduct, but when one of their own players was captured on camera reportedly making offensive remarks about race, crickets, the duo will look into phantom racism from fans but won't even acknowledge potential racism from players, They will put up no space for hate signs throughout arenas while ignoring real hate that may be coming from within their own locker rooms. This double standard is so blatant that it's practically glowing neon. You could cut through the hypocrisy with a butter knife. Since the specifics are important, let's discuss what actually transpired during that viral moment. The video went viral, sparked a lot of debate, and created exactly the kind of controversy that the Duba desperately wants to avoid. However, the thing about controversies is that they don't just go away because you ignore them. If anything, the league's silence and Guerrier's convenient amnesia have made this story bigger than it would have been if they just addressed it honestly from the beginning. Now, it's not just about what Guerrier may or may not have said. It's about institutional cover-ups and selective enforcement of standards. The contrast with how other incidents have been handled is stark and telling. The league does not look into Caitlin Clark's repeated egregious foulings or the evident targeting she receives from rival players, yet they act swiftly when unfounded claims regarding fan behavior are made. The trend implies that safeguarding some players comes before protecting others, which is the exact type of partiality that undermines the legitimacy of the league. Guerrier's decision to not watch the video is especially damning because it shows that someone knows they are guilty but wants to avoid confirmation. Innocent people embrace evidence that could clear their names. They want to see what transpired so they can clarify the situation or offer backdrop. Just as vampires fear sunshine, so do guilty people avoid evidence. The way the media has covered this story has been equally shocking. Despite possessing video footage and numerous witness accounts, the majority of publications have simply ignored the occurrence. Outkick took the time to question Guerrier personally about what transpired, which speaks much about the condition of sports media in terms of preserving particular narratives. On two levels, this selective amnesia defense is offensive. First, it belittles the intelligence of anyone who watched the video and heard what seemed to be said. Second, it undermines the idea of accountability by implying that temporary memory loss is a legitimate reaction to grave accusations. Thirdly, it disparages other players who are punished for their words and deeds without allowing them to claim amnesia. From a behavioral perspective, the psychological component of this scenario is intriguing because when people are caught doing something incorrectly, they usually exhibit predictable tendencies. Selective amnesia is saved for circumstances in which people are aware of their guilt but are unable to accept it, whereas denial is frequent and deflection is typical. Guerrier's reaction is a fantastic fit for this pattern. The larger background of racial tensions surrounding Caitlin Clark throughout her WNBA career, targeting cheap shots and receiving blatantly unequal treatment from players and officials, makes this even more troubling. Adding possible racial slurs to that list would be a significant escalation that the league cannot afford to overlook through convenient amnesia. Social media is overflowing with people making fun of the ridiculousness of remembering every detail except the most crucial one. Memes are created when someone says they remember fouling out but not what they said at the time. It's like saying you remember ordering food but not what you ordered. The fan response to Guerrier's memory loss has been predictable and well-deserved. The WNBA's institutional response demonstrates how they function when confronted with uncomfortable facts about their own players. They look into external threats to their preferred narratives right away, but internal threats are ignored. They denounce hate from fans while ignoring possible hate from players, and they give speeches about inclusion while denying some players equal protection. This circumstance is made even more ironic by Guerrier's professional background. She has positioned herself as an advocate for equality and social justice, speaking out against various forms of discrimination, but when accused of engaging in the very behavior she claims to oppose, she suddenly loses all memory. If it weren't so obvious, the hypocrisy would be astounding. There are several reasons why the timing of this amnesia claim is questionable. 3 weeks is more than enough time to organize with league authorities, consult with attorneys, and draft a response. Her final statement, which was basically, "I don't remember," implies that more truthful answers would have been even more detrimental to her reputation and the league's favored story. When the WNBA selects which controversies to investigate based on who is involved rather than what happened, they undermine their own authority. When players can avoid accountability through convenient amnesia, they set precedents that will come back to haunt them in future controversies. The video evidence itself is still available for anyone who wants to analyze what was actually said. Lip-reading experts could potentially settle the debate definitively, but neither Griner nor the league seem interested in that level of clarity. They prefer the ambiguity that allows plausible deniability, even when that ambiguity damages their credibility with anyone paying attention. The broader implications for league credibility are significant. When caught on camera making potentially problematic remarks, WNBA players seem to receive institutional protection and the Amnesia defense, while NBA players face immediate scrutiny and possible discipline for such remarks, even if they were made in private conversations. This is a stark contrast to how male professional athletes are treated in similar circumstances. The response on social media has been especially instructive since it demonstrates how obvious this defense seems to the general public. Ordinary people can spot clear avoidance strategies when someone remembers everything but the one information that could implicate them. They don't need sophisticated degrees in psychology to do so. If Griner did make the claimed racist remarks that would have constituted harassment or created a hostile work environment, the legal ramifications of this case might go beyond simply league penalties. If Clark or other athletes choose to seek legal redress, the league may be held liable for their improper investigation. Additionally, the time aligns with more general conversations regarding the WNBA's treatment of its most marketable players. Although Clark has given the league previously unheard of attention and income, she has been singled out more and given less security than players who make significantly less contributions to the final product. This episode serves as yet another illustration of that troubling trend. The Amnesia defense has gained popularity for good reason. It is so blatantly practical that it belittles the brains of anyone who is supposed to accept it. Professional sportsmen have remarkable recollections of emotional times and game scenarios. The notion that Griner would misremember her exact comments in a heated exchange puts her credibility under unimaginable strain. The WNBA's institutional silence says a lot about its ideals and objectives. They will look into phantom racism against athletes they wish to defend while disregarding clear possibilities of racism against players who don't match their desired narratives. That isn't equality or justice. That is selective enforcement driven more by politics than by morality. Fans' interest in this issue reflects greater dissatisfaction with the league's operations. They're fed up with convenient forgetfulness, double standards, and seeing their favorite players singled out while the league ignores them. Griner's loss of memory embodies all the issues with the institutional defense of favored narratives over accountability and the truth. The unwillingness of the media to follow this story demonstrates forcefully how sports journalism functions when difficult facts jeopardize favored narratives. The majority of publications would prefer to overlook glaring issues than run the risk of being branded as troublesome for raising legitimate concerns about possible misbehavior. In legal and psychiatric literature, the psychological profile of someone who recalls every detail except the incriminating one is well established. This condition is known as selective amnesia, and it is usually used by people who are aware of their guilt but wish to avoid consequences by claiming plausible deniability. Because Griner's response sets a precedent for how future scandals will be handled if players can escape accountability through convenient memory loss, the harm to the league's reputation goes beyond this one instance. If the league refuses to look into the possibility of racism from players while looking into phantom racism from supporters, why should anyone have faith in their dedication to equality? Fans have responded quickly and harshly because they can spot clear deceit when they see it. The irony is that Griner's amnesia defense has made this story bigger and more damaging than honest accountability would have been. Had she watched the video, clarified what was said, and either apologized or explained the misunderstanding, this would probably have been forgotten by now. Instead, her blatant avoidance tactics have created a story about institutional cover-ups and selective justice that will last much longer than the original incident. Social media is flooded with commentary about the absurdity of selective amnesia and the league's complicity in covering up potential misconduct. When the WNBA's favorite players are involved in scandal, Brittney Griner's convenient forgetfulness just revealed every flaw in the organization's operations. It is clearly indisputable that there are double standards, selective enforcement, and institutional shielding of some narratives over others. How do you feel about this glaring memory loss? For more truth about sports hypocrisy, leave your comments below, hit the like button, and subscribe.